Hello guys, welcome. This is our series of tutorials in which we will discuss firmware development on STM32 microcontroller. So I have chosen this board Nucleo L476RG-T6. So this is going to be the board that we will use for the tutorial, and in the first part we will be doing the installation of IDE and introduction to the onboard components as well as the peripherals. So let's get started. Board that I have chosen, that is STM32 L476RG. So this contains a microcontroller that you can see, which is having 1 MB flash and 128 KB of SRAM. So you can also see the same if you search for this Nucleo. So from here you can see that it is costing nearly 1500 rupees or 1700, like $20, nearly $20 it costs. And to get its documents, you need to go to this site from ST, and here you can find out all the documents. So this is the same document I am showing you. So here you can read about the features of this board. So like development environments, what is the system requirements. There are tool chains like your Kyle, GCC, ARM based tools and IAR based tools. So we will be mainly looking at the ST based tool, which is called STM32 Cube IDE. So right now, as you can see, this is our board, and if I try to capture it and take it here, like side by side, I'll keep it. So this whole section is your ST link, which is used to program. This is your ST link, which is used to program this microcontroller using the USB cable. So there is an on-chip bootloader that is inside this chip. So with the help of that, you can program this chip. So this is compatible with Arduino. It has the same Arduino type Morpho connectors, as you can see here, and so this makes it compatible to the Arduino shields that are already available in the market. So now we will look a bit deeper into the onboard peripherals and everything that are there. So like there is one LED that is for power, which is red LED over here, and there is another LED provided, which is a green LED, which is here. So this is the overall configuration. So right now we will start with downloading the IDE. So we will first download the IDE, which is STM32 Cube IDE. So for that we will go to the link. This is the link that we will go to, and then we will download it based on whether we are on targeting to develop on Windows or Linux or Mac. So based on that we will download it. So I have included this link in the video description, and from here you can download it. So once you click the download, you will have to accept this terms and conditions that they have, and you will have to accept these terms and conditions. So after accepting it, your download will start, and it will contain a zip file that I'll show now. Yeah, so this is the zip file that we have. So till now we have downloaded the zip from this ST microelectronic site, and then we'll extract it here. So upon extracting, which I have done already, we'll get this application which is an installer. So when we double click it, we'll get progress bar kind of installer. So if you double click it, it will ask you to install it. Since I have already installed it, so I will not go through that. So after installation you will get a shortcut created on your desktop, and you can launch it from there. So once it is launched, which I have, so once it is launched, it will ask you for a particular workspace which you can create in any folder. I have created it here. So you launch this workspace, and then so there are mainly 4 options. One of them is to start a new STM32 project, and another is to start new project from an existing configuration file, which is this code generator, initialization generator. And then another is import, and import from cube example also. So we'll start a new STM32 project. So it is initializing the target selector. So since our board is you have to see the part number. So our board is we'll go to, there are multiple selectors. One of them is MCU MPU selector, board selector, example selector, or cross selector. So there are various dedicated kits for performing particular examples that you can also get from the site. So we will select our board, and the board is Nucleo. It's Nucleo L4 76 RG. So this is our board. So this is the board that comes. So we'll select next, and then we'll have to give a project name. So we'll start with the let's say hello Blinky. So, or maybe we can say blink LED. So we will blink the LED. Target language is C, and target project type is STM32 cube. Binary is also executable. So we will proceed next. So it will there is this firmware package name which is already there, which is STM32 cube FWL4. This consists of all the libraries that comes with this ID. So you can make use of that libraries, which the ID will copy into your source code. So now we'll click finish. And it is asking initialize all peripherals with the default mode. We can select yes. Device configuration tool later associated with device configuration tool perspective. Do you want to open this perspective? So yeah, the perspective is like the division of these windows across the whole your view. So we will say yes. So it will initialize this device configuration tool. So this is initializing, and now it will download this STM32 cube FWL4. So depending upon your net speed, it is exactly like 755 megabytes. So it may take some time before it gets downloaded from the internet, and then it will unzip it. So we will return when this gets done. So now the download has been completed, and now it's unzipping the files. So once it's done, we are ready to write our application code. This has completed, and like the onboard microcontroller is visible on your viewing area. So so this controller has 64 pins, 16 pins on each side. So like 1 2 3 up to 16 on one side and 16 on other side. So this is 16 pin LQFP package, which is a flat package. So the chip is inside this blob that you see. So now what we'll do is we will set up all the system cores. Like first of all, we'll go here in the left hand toolbar. You can see there are various options such as system core, analog, timers, connectivity, etc. So we'll go with system core, and then we'll choose the RCC. So this is our clock. So high speed crystal, since this has 24 megahertz high speed external crystal on the board, so we can make use of that, and we can use that crystal or ceramic resonator. So now our clock comes from that, and we don't need a clock output for now. Then in the system we don't need to enable these things now. And so first of all, in the first project we are targeting to blink an LED. So we will discuss in the later videos, part 2, how we can configure a particular GPIO to output or input, or like to a particular timer. So in this GUI you can click on a particular pin and it shows what options you can configure it to. Like you can configure it to an output, an input, or timer, or SPI. So we'll see that later when we discuss in detail the architecture of the chip. So for now we will make it an output, since we in the first project we want to blink an LED. So this becomes an output. And now we'll move on to clock configuration. So this is your clock tree, as you can see. So these are the two main inputs, which can be crystal, which can be an RC oscillator, which is 32.76 megahertz. Generally it is used for timing requirements in RTCs. So, and next is your 8 megahertz, which is high speed internal crystal. And then you have also the provision of external crystal that we are using. So we will use that HSE, and we will configure it to the maximum clock speed that it can go is 80 megahertz. So we will write 80 here, and so it will automatically configure it accordingly. So now it is configured. So our main clock will be 80 megahertz, and timer clock on APB2, which is we'll discuss later, which is advanced peripheral bus, is also 80 megahertz. So this we can configure it to 4 to 48 megahertz, anything. So maybe we can configure it to 24 megahertz, and then we can select 80 over here. So now the input frequency will be 24 megahertz, and the frequency that will be supplied to the core of the CPU will be 80 megahertz. That will be used for the cycles of the CPU. And you can also configure output, but we are not doing it here. So now we go to tools. Here you have the provision for calculating how much power consumption will be there in stop mode, run mode. So generally it is like 1.18 microamperes. In run mode it is 10.7 milliampere. So these are all like required when you are operating your embedded system on battery. So we will have a look at that in one of the later videos. So now we will go to this pinout and configuration, and we will look for generating the code. So code generator. Now see, these are our GPIOs, the crystal, clock and UART, which you can enable or disable based on the requirements for now. So we'll be using the hardware abstraction layer library HAL from STMicroelectronics. So now we will generate the code. So once you click on save, so it will ask you, do you want to generate the code? So we'll say yes. So it will open a new perspective in this workspace, your ID. So we'll say yes, and then device configuration. So now we have the code has been generated. So here you can see these are the core components, which includes the header files and the source files. So this is our main, and these are the drivers, which are like HAL drivers. You have drivers for GPIO, flash, DMA and UART, timers, etc. We'll see all of that in a later video. And this is our main.c. So here we have initialized all the peripherals, which is all just generated by that QID. So we'll have a look at the code in a later video, part 2. So this was the part 1, which was about giving you an introduction to the board that we are using for firmware development, as well as get you started with the installation of IDE. And in the next video we will take a deeper dive into the code, and we will try to blink an LED and get you started with the firmware development. So till then, bye.